Hello, my dear students. How are you? Hope that you are all doing fine. This video is for lecture 5. In lecture 5, we're going to cover only grammar, but it's divided into two parts. But they are for sure related to each other. Let's start. Are you ready? Okay. First part is related to linking verbs. Okay, the last time in grammar we covered action verbs, which is verbs, but a certain type of verbs. Now I'm going to cover with you something called linking verbs. When we go over it, sure you'll say, oh, I know it, or I know them. I know these verbs. Yeah, for sure you know these verbs, but I want to remind you that these kinds of verbs are especially called linking verbs. Why? We're going to see. Just move step by step with me. What are we going to cover in this part? You will be able at the end of this part to identify linking verbs, and you will identify predicate nouns and the predicate adjectives. What is predicate noun, what is predicate adjective, you will know when you follow me step by step. To start with, first of all, what are linking verbs? What are linking verbs? Do you have any idea what are linking verbs? Do you remember? They are not action verbs for sure, so I can figure out from the beginning that the linking verbs, they do not give an action, or they do not talk about an action, they do not perform an action. Okay, so we will agree on something first, that linking verbs do not include actions, they do not include physical movements. That's the first point. But what are linking verbs? Let's see. Linking verbs act as an equals sign in the sentence. You see the equal sign. How do they act like an equal sign in the sentence? What do we mean by equal sign? The subject is not doing anything. So if the subject is not doing anything, why are we talking about it? Instead, it is or is like something else in the sentence. Either it is something, I want to talk about the subject as it's something, or it is like something in the sentence. So let's agree on something first. When we are talking about linking verbs, we directly know that the subject is not performing an action. The subject is something or is like something else. Okay, and this something else is mentioned in the same sentence. Linking verbs tell us that the subject has a word in the predicate that renames it. So, when we have a word in the predicate that renames the subject, it is a noun. When it renames the subject, it should be a noun. Or describes it, we mean describes the subject. When it describes the subject, it is an adjective. Okay? Of course, I will repeat it. Linking verbs tell us that the subject has a word in the predicate that renames it or describes it. So I'm talking about a subject, the girl. Okay, the linking verb, what is the function of the linking verb here in the sentence? Either it will tell me about the subject, it will rename the subject, okay? It will give me a noun, but this noun is related to the subject, or I will find a word in the predicate that describes the subject. And as we know that when we have a word that describes subject or a noun, it's called an adjective. Okay, so in other words, they are equal. What are the equals? The subject with the word after the linking verb. So you see now why do we say that the linking verbs act as an equal sign? Again, I will repeat, the linking verbs here do not show actions, okay? The verbs here do not show actions. In other words, the subject in the sentence is not performing a physical movement. So, What is the function of the linking verb here? It links. I'm calling it linking because it links. It's like an equal sign. How? It's an equal sign to the subject because it will tell me about the subject itself. Either it renames the subject with a noun, we rename the subject with a word which is a noun, or describes the subject which is called an adjective. So we use adjectives. Okay? Let me give you an example. The girl is beautiful. What is the subject? The girl. What is the verb? Is. What do I have after is? Beautiful. Beautiful is what? Is an adjective because it describes the subject, the girl. Okay. And what do I have in the middle? How did I link the subject to the adjective with the word is? So here is, does it show an action? No, is in the sentence is called a linking verb. How? We'll see. So, guys, now, what are the linking verbs? What are these verbs? And do you know them? Linking verbs include the forms of the verb to be. I'm sure that you know what is the verb to be. Is, am, was, were, are, be, being, been. These are linking verbs because they do not perform actions, but they link the subject with the predicate. Also, linking verbs are related to the senses. What do we mean? The verbs that took or in some way express the senses like taste, smells, looks, feels, sounds, seems, and more verbs that you will know them through practice. Now that we have known what are these linking verbs, we can move to their function. First of all, or the first function is identifying. What do I mean by identifying? If you remember in the previous slides, we said that the linking verb is followed with a word. So this word either renames the subject or describes the subject. But when I say identifying, I mean it gives more information. It identifies it. It gives it like a definition. So it renames the subject in the same way. Okay. So when I say identifying, I mean it renames the subject. When a linking verb connects the subject to a noun, connects what? Subject to a noun, the noun identifies who or what the subject is. So this noun that followed the linking verb gives more information about the subject. It identifies who or what the subject is. For example, Mrs. Alvarez is a teacher. Okay, let's take this example now. What is the subject here in this sentence? The subject is Mrs. Alvarez. Okay, if I ask you what is the verb? Is. Okay, the verb is. A teacher. What about a teacher? A teacher is linked to what or to who? To Mrs. Alvarez. So here the word teacher is a noun first of all. And it followed the verb to be. Okay, and it identifies who is Mrs. Alvarez. So here I consider is a linking verb, and the word teacher, which is the noun here, okay, it identified who is Mrs. Alvarez. Another example, Mrs. Alvarez was a graduate teacher. Who? What is the subject? Mrs. Alvarez also. What is the verb was? Okay, was what? A graduate teacher. What about graduate teacher here? Graduate teacher talks about Mrs. Alvarez. Also, it links here Mrs. Alvarez. So, sorry, it's linked to Mrs. Alvarez. How? By the verb was. So here was is a linking verb because it linked Mrs. Alvarez to this noun, and this noun gives more information about Mrs. Alvarez, so it identifies it. That's why we say that linking verbs are identifying because they use nouns after them, after the linking verbs, and these nouns identify the subjects. Okay, more explanation about identifying. When a subject is linked to a noun, when the subject is linked to a noun, so when the linking verb is followed by a noun, the noun is called the predicate noun. You see, when the linking verb is followed by a noun and this noun talks about the subject, what do we call this noun? Predicate noun. You would say, why do we call it predicate noun? Because this noun is found in the predicate part of the sentence and it is linked to the subject. So I call it predicate noun. It is called a predicate noun because the noun comes after the linking verb. The most important thing to notice here is that the noun comes after the linking verb, which means, look what, which means it's a part of the predicate of the sentence, you see, which means it's a part of the predicate of the sentence. So when the linking verb is followed with a noun and this noun talks about the subject, we call the noun predicate noun. Why? Because this noun comes after the linking verb and so it's a part of the predicate sentence. Okay, describing. We finished from identifying, from the part of identifying. What do we mean by describing? When a linking verb connects the subject with an adjective. So since we're talking about description or describing, there must be an adjective. When a linking verb connects the subject with an adjective, it describes the subject. What do we mean? What we mean here that when the linking verb is followed by an adjective, this adjective talks about who? The subject. Okay? So this adjective describes the subject. Example, Miss Taylor rarely seems tired. Where is the subject here? Miss Taylor. Where is the verb? Seems, not rarely here. Seems. Okay? Seems is the verb. Seems what? Tired. What about tired? Tired is a describing word. Okay? And who is tired? Miss Taylor. Okay? So here, tired describes Miss Taylor. And I have seems here. Seems is a linking verb. So what do I recognize at the end here? That tired is an adjective and it describes the subject, okay, which is Miss Taylor, and tired comes after the linking verb, okay. So here seems is the linking verb and tired is the adjective that describes the subject. Another example, the classroom looks clean. What is the subject? The classroom. Okay, what about the classroom? Looks clean. Clean is what? Clean is a describing word. Okay, it's an adjective. Okay, what is the verb? Looks. Looks is a linking verb here. And here I have an adjective. This adjective describes what? Describes the classroom. So here, looks is a linking verb and clean is adjective that follows the linking verb. Okay? About describing, why not? When a subject is linked to an adjective. Now, when the subject is linked to an adjective, the adjective is called the predicate adjective. In other words, when I have subject, the linking verb, then adjective. The adjective comes after the linking verb, and the adjective describes the subject, okay? I call it predicate adjective. Again, why do I call it predicate adjective? Because it is in the predicate part of the sentence and it comes after the linking verb. Again, it is called a predicate adjective because the adjective comes after the linking verb, which means it's a part of the predicate of the sentence. Okay, so this is what we mean by describing. Okay, again, when comes into your mind linking verbs, you have to remember the verb to be, the form of the verb to be, am, is, are, was, were, being, been, okay? And the verbs that are related to the senses. In other words, all the verbs that do not include actions, I do not have actions, they do not perform actions, they just link the subject to another word in the predicate, okay? What are these other words in the predicate? They might be nouns or adjectives, okay? When the linking verb links the subject to a noun in the predicate, we call the noun predicate noun, and here it identifies the subject. But when the subject is linked to an adjective in the predicate, we call the adjective predicate adjective, okay? And here the linking verb links the adjective to the subject. In other words, the adjective describes the subject, okay? And it gives more information about it. That's why we call it description or describing. So the linking verbs have two functions, identifying and describing, okay? Identifying and describing. And when we say identifying, we mean there is a noun after the linking verb and we call it a predicate noun. But when we say describing, we mean there is an adjective after the linking verb and we call it predicate adjective. Okay, there is something very important. There is an important note here you have to keep in mind. A linking verb will always have a word in the predicate that it links to the subject. You see, always. A linking verb will always have a word. There is a word in the predicate that it links to the subject. We cannot have a linking verb if there is no word that is linked to the subject. Always. Again, we repeat always, not sometimes. Yes, always. Let's see how linking verbs work in some sentences. Linking verbs in action. Here we do not mean action verbs, we mean in action in process. The trees are beautiful in the fall. Where is the subject here? Trees, for sure. Where is the verb? Are. Okay? What about the trees? Beautiful. Beautiful is what? Is an adjective. So let's see. Are is the linking verb. Excellent. Are is the linking verb. That's right. And the trees is the subject. Excellent. Here the linking verb links what? Links the trees to beautiful because beautiful describes the trees. So beautiful is called the predicate adjective. Why? Because beautiful is an adjective and it's linked to trees. Okay, trees is the subject and beautiful is in the predicate, so we call it predicate adjective. There is a linking verb here, subject, linking verb, adjective. So we say predicate adjective and the adjective describes the subject. The verb are links an adjective in the predicate with the subject. The verb are links an adjective in the predicate with the subject. Linking verbs in action also. The play, exciting. The play was exciting. Okay? The play here equals what? The play, if I say the play equals what? Equals exciting. So here the play is linked to exciting. Oh, sorry, exciting is linked to the play because exciting describes the play and the play is the subject. Exciting is the adjective, was is the linking verb. And since exciting is the adjective and it is in the predicate, so we call it predicate adjective. So was is the linking verb. Exciting is the predicate adjective. The verb was links an adjective in the predicate with the subject. Another example, Mr. Noel, the new teacher in the school. Mr. Noel is the new teacher in the school. Mr. Noel equals what? Mr. Noel equals the new teacher. Okay? So is what here is the linking verb. What is the subject? Mr. Noel. And Mr. Noel is linked to what? A new teacher. Okay? Teacher is a noun. Pay attention here. Teacher is a noun, not an adjective. Teacher is a noun in the predicate that renames the subject. It renames Mr. Noel, so we call it predicate noun. Okay? Again, teacher is a noun in the predicate and it renames Mr. Noel. Okay? And here is a linking verb. So teacher is called the predicate noun because it renames the subject. Okay, so is the linking verb. Now you try by yourself. The first example. Ice cream is my favorite dessert. Okay, ice cream is my favorite dessert. Okay, where is the subject? Ice cream, that's right. Ice cream equals what in the sentence? Equals favorite dessert. Okay, so dessert here. Ice cream and dessert are equal. How are they equal? By the linking verb. Excellent. They are equal by the linking verb is. So here is the linking verb. Ice cream is the subject. What about the dessert? Dessert is a noun. That's right. Dessert is a noun. So what do I call it? Predicate noun. Excellent. I call it predicate noun. That's right. Let's take another example. The couple seems pleasant. Okay, where is the subject? The couple. Excellent, the couple. Okay, where is the verb? Seems. Here you might say seems is a linking verb. Let's see, what do we have after seems? Pleasant. Pleasant is an adjective. Okay, pleasant is an adjective. So seems is what? Does it perform an action? Does it express an action? No. Okay, and it's related to the senses. So it is a linking verb. So seems here is the linking verb. Couple is the subject, and pleasant is an adjective. And pleasant here describes the couple. So what do we call pleasant? Predicate adjective. Okay. More about linking verbs. What can we know more about linking verbs? And this is very important. We have to pay attention to it. Some linking verbs can be used as action verbs. Some linking verbs can be used as action verbs. But let me tell you something. They are not the verb to be verbs, okay? Not the form of the verb to be. They cannot be used as action verbs. But some other verbs can be used as action verbs. So the reader has to pay attention to how the verb is being used in the sentence. Okay, you have to pay very attention to how the verb is used in the sentence. How? Let's take first of all some examples of these verbs that can be used as linking verbs as an action verb. Appear, grow, seem, become, look, smell, feel, remain, sound, taste. These are this is a group. This is a group of verbs that can be used as action verbs and as linking verbs. How can you differentiate between them if they are or action verbs? You need another clue? Why not? Let's see. There is always or there is a way to find out if the word you are looking at is a linking verb or not. So there is a certain way you can follow in order to figure if the verb you're looking at is linking or action. Are you ready to find out what is it is? Okay, it's kind of sneaky. You have to pay attention. Substitution. What do you mean by substitution? What about substitution? How can substitution help me figure out if the verb is linking or action? Let's see. If you can substitute am, is, or are for the word you think is a linking verb, in other words, you take out the verb and you put instead of the verb am, is, or are. Okay? And the sentence still makes sense. If the sentence still makes sense, you are probably right and it is a linking verb. Again, I repeat, if you want to know if the verb you're looking at, or if you are confused if this verb is action or linking, there is a very sneaky way to know. What? You take out the verb and you put instead of the verb am, is, or are. If the verb still makes sense, it stays a complete sentence with a meaningful statement, okay, then you are right. It is linking verb. But if you substitute the word with am, is, or are, and it doesn't stay or it doesn't keep making sense, then it's not a linking verb. Okay, let's try before we quit. Let's try with some examples. Here is a sentence. The pie smells delicious. Where is the verb? The verb here smells. You might say directly it's related to senses. Okay, it's related to senses, but let's check first if it's linking or not. What should we do? What does the rule say? Substitution. What should we substitute smells with? Any kind of linking verb, am, is, or are. Okay? If we think smells is a linking verb, let's substitute one of our words and see if it still makes sense. Okay? The pie is delicious. Think of it. The pie is delicious. The pie smells delicious. The pie is delicious. Okay, it keeps making sense. That's right. It doesn't change anything in the meaning. It's a complete sentence. So, what do I conclude at the end? The sentence still makes sense. So, smells is a linking verb. That's it. Simple and easy. Okay. So, now, guys, we have finished from the linking verbs. Okay, for sure we have a worksheet with exercises related to the linking verbs. Okay, you can go and solve them if you want now. Then you come back to the rest of the video to watch the rest, which is about main and helping verbs. Or if you want to continue watching the video and you solve the questions all together at the end, it's okay. It's up to you. Feel free to do what you it is suitable for you. Okay. Now we are going to move to the second part of our grammar lesson, which is about main and helping verbs. Okay, we finished from linking verbs. Now I have something called main and helping verbs. What are main and helping verbs? From their names, main and helping. Helping, we mean they give help. And main, which is major, it's the main verb, the main thing that is happening in the sentence that I'm talking about or that the subject is doing. You want more details? For sure. Let's move on. What are we going to cover in this part? And we're going to identify main and helping verbs, and you are going to identify verb phrase. Okay? So there are two things we have to identify in this part. So as you notice, this time, all of our lesson is about verbs because it's very important and we have to know how to use verbs, especially in writing. Okay, are you ready? Let's move on. First of all, helping verbs. Let's see what are helping verbs from their name. Okay, helping. They are helpers. They help. They give assistance. They are assistant. Okay, so helping verbs are helping. Simply, they help. A helping verb works with a main verb to help you understand what action is taking place. You see, a helping verb works with the main verb, works with another verb. Okay, helping works with the main. Later, you'll know what is the main. With the main verb to help. This is the most important. Why did we call them or name them helping? Because they help you understand what action is taking place. Example? Why not? Elmer was using the computer. Where is the verb here in this sentence? Elmer was using the computer. Some of you might say was. Some of you might say using. The complete verb here is was using. Okay? But if you notice that here the verb is made of two words. Why? Okay. Let's move step by step. If I say Elmer was the computer, is it correct to say Elmer was the computer? No, Elmer wasn't the computer here. Or Elmer using the computer, is it enough? When we say Elmer using the computer, does it make sense? No. So here What did we do? We said Elmer was using the computer. Here was helped the main verb using in order to make the sentence or to help the sentence get a full meaning. Okay, so here was is the helping verb. It helped the main verb. Okay, and it helped us to understand the action that is taking place, which has helped us to know that Elmer was using the computer. Okay, so here was is a helping verb and using is a main verb. Okay, was here is a helping verb. Pay attention, it's not a linking because it's not alone. Okay, was here is a helping verb. Alone, it's not enough. A helping verb works with the main verb to show the time of the action. Also, the helping verb works with a main verb to show the time of the action. What do we mean by the time of the action? Let's see. Past, like what? Was, were, has, have, had. These when they are added to the main verbs, okay, they help us to figure out when the action happened. In the past, we notice that they used was, were, has, have, and had. In the present, we find am, is, or are. In the future, we find will. Okay, so these helping verbs also help us to figure out when the action taking place, or when the action is taking place, or when the action took place. Because it might be in the past, it might be in the present, or it might be in the future. Okay, so the helping verb is helper. These are helping verbs like was, were, has, have, had, am, is, are, will, and more. We'll see. What is the helping verb? What is the main verb? Okay, so again, I repeat, when we have a helping verb, it should be followed with a main verb. I cannot have a helping verb without a main verb, but I can have a main verb without a helping verb. Here I'm going to display some examples. We're going to try to figure out where is the helping verb and where is the main verb. First example, she is going to school on Monday. First of all, what is the subject? Okay, the subject she. What is the verb? Is going. Is going is the whole verb. Okay, but I have two words in this verb, is and going. There is one helping verb and one main verb. What is the helping verb? Is. Is the helping verb. And what about going? Going is the main verb. Another example. My uncle will sing at mass. What is the subject? My uncle. Okay. What is the helping verb? He will. And what is the main verb? Sing. Excellent. Let me ask you a question here. When do the actions happen? Okay, the first one I have is, so the helping verb is, so the sentence happens in the present. In the second sentence, the helping verb is will, so it will happen in the future. Great. Another example. We have played soccer for 3 years. Subject, we. What is the verb? Have played. What is the helping? Have. What is the main verb? Played. Excellent. And have played, since I used have, the sentence happened in the past. Christopher can sing beautifully. Okay, what is the subject? Christopher. Where is the verb? Sing or can sing? No, it's can sing. Let me tell you why. Okay, you might say I don't have is or have or was or am or will. Yeah, but what do I have here? Can. Can is what? Can is a helping verb. Excellent. Here, can is a helping verb and sing is the main verb. So here, what do you conclude from this example? That not only am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, and will are helping verbs. No, I have other examples of helping verbs. Another example, the code was hidden inside an old book. What is the subject? The code. What is the helping verb? Was. What is the main verb? Hidden. Excellent. Okay, these are examples of helping verbs other than only the verb to be and have, has, had. Okay, what are other examples of helping verbs? May, might, must. Yes, they are called helping verbs also. Be, being, been, are, is, was, were, do, does, did. Also, they are called helping verbs. Should, could, would, have, had, has, will, can, shall. All of these are called helping verbs. Keep them in mind. Okay, other things to keep in mind about helping verbs. What should we keep in mind about helping verbs? Not every sentence will have a helping verb with the main verb. Okay, as I said before, we must have a main verb in the sentence, but it's not a necessity to have a helping verb. Okay, but we cannot have a helping verb without a main verb. Is it clear? We must have a main verb, but it's not a necessity to have a helping verb with it. But when the helping verb is found in the sentence, it cannot be alone, it must have a main verb. When you see an ing verb such as running, be on the lookout for a helping verb also. Okay, this is a hint. When you find ing in the verb, you must have a helping verb before it. Sometimes there is another word which separates the helping verb from the main verb. One common example. What do you mean by a word that separates the helping verb from the main verb? One common example is not. Here, as in, the boy couldn't find his socks. Okay, what is the helping verb? Couldn't. You might say couldn't. Yes, that's right. But the helping verb, sorry, the helping is could. The main verb is find. Here, not is a negative word. It's not a helping verb. So, I cannot consider not as a helping verb. But if you say couldn't is a helping verb, it's okay. If you say only could, it's clear. Okay, we know that's a helping verb. But not is not a helping verb. Pay attention. Not is not a helping verb. It's a negative word. The helping verb here is could, and the main verb is find. Couldn't find is a verb phrase. What is the verb phrase? You will know at the end of the video. After this slide, a sentence may contain up to 3 helping verbs to the main verb. We might find 3 helping verbs with the main verb, but only we have one main verb. We can have more than one helping verb, but we have only one main verb. Okay? An example would be the dog must have been chasing the cat. What is the main verb? Chasing only. Chasing is the main verb. Okay. What is the helping verb, or where are the helping verbs? They are must, have, and been. If you say been or been, it's the same. Okay. The helping verbs are must, have, and been. The main verb is chasing. Okay. The last thing that we have to cover in the video is verb phrase. So we finished. We know now what is the helping verb and what is the main verb, and they together work together. But when they are together, the helping with the main verb, I call them verb phrase. What do I call them? Verb phrase. Verbs that are made up of more than one word are called verb phrases. Okay, the verbs that are made up of more than one word, they are called verb phrases. Okay, and here I have helping verb with main verb, so I call them verb phrases. In a verb phrase, the main verb names the action. You see, the main verb names the action. The helping verb helps tell the time of the action. Okay, you see, the helping verb helps tell the time of the action. The main verb is always the last word in the verb phrase. In the verb phrase, pay attention, not in the sentence, in the verb phrase. Okay? Animals are losing their habitats. Animals are losing their habitats. What is the subject? Animals. Okay? Animals is the subject. What is the verb? Are losing. Are losing is the verb phrase. Are, losing is the verb phrase. Are is the helping and losing is the main verb. Okay, are is the helping and losing is the main verb, and you see the main verb is the last word in the verb phrase. Are, losing is the verb phrase, are is the helping verb, and losing is the main verb. There may be more than one helping verb in verb phrase. Again, we repeat, there might be more than one helping verb. We should have saved more wetland habitats. What is the verb phrase? Should have saved. Not only should have saved. This is the verb phrase. What is the main verb? Saved. Where is the or where are the helping verbs? Should and have. Okay, you see here I have more than one helping verb. So the verb phrase should have saved. Main verb is saved, and should and have are helping verbs. Okay, that's it only about verb phrase. The helping verb with the main verb is called verb phrase. That's it. So guys, that now we have finished everything related to verbs, linking verbs, main and helping verbs. You can go to the worksheet now. You solve the exercises. They are very easy, simple. They are not complicated. Okay, try your best solving them. I cannot wait to see you during the live Zoom. Stay safe. Okay, okay guys, love you all. Bye bye.